He seemed like a plain guy from Georgia who sang about rivers, family, and faith. But behind the spotlight were cracks, infidelity and remorse, illness and loss, a body's fight, and a stubborn heart. Newnan, Georgia. A house cobbled from an old shed, the hum of the highway. Sunday church. A kitchen radio. Stubborn simplicity, and a cheap guitar that lands in a teenager's hands and suddenly explains what freedom feels like. The first songs are about what you see from the porch: gasoline, heat, the river, grown-ups talking on the steps. The first stages are school evenings and neighbors' barbecues. Not about fame, but about how music keeps you afloat when money is short and prospects are dim. He learns early. If you want an honest life, sing honestly. Honesty is a solid foundation, but the road to the stage has only begun. The country capital wasn't waiting for him. A rented room, bills, and odd jobs. Denise picks up extra shifts to keep them going. He hauls boxes and writes at night. Random meetings become small steps. A business card here, a kind tip there, and finally a first contract. The debut is noticed. The voice holds no posture, just recognizable Southern life. He doesn't try to please everyone, he sings to his own people, and that's exactly what starts to please many. Liftoff brings more than applause. It brings temptations and the rules of the game. Hits arrive one after another. Suddenly, Alan Jackson is a marker of real country. But the scene is shifting. Radio leans toward pop gloss and studio shine. He won't chase trends. He keeps the steel of acoustic guitars, the spaciousness of lyrics, the barroom pulse. When Murder on Music Row with George Strait drops, it sounds like a manifesto. Don't kill the music for format. Some bristle at the conservatism, but thousands hear the point. Severed roots bear no fruit. And then comes a day when a song is needed not for debate but for a country. After 9/11, he writes simple lines. No slogans, almost conversational. The song lands on a big stage and the room rises, not out of politeness but recognition. It says what people feel but can't frame. It doesn't give answers. It reconnects. Millions listen and find their place in the silence between verses. Sometimes, the rarest thing happens, music that doesn't explain so much as it heals. The hardest choices aren't on stage, they're at home, behind a closed door. Their story began in school. A boy with a guitar and a girl with a smile. Long dates, a Christmas proposal. Looked like forever. Then came tours, distance, and night roads. In 1998, an admission of infidelity. A break, cold, silence. He speaks about guilt plainly. She speaks about pain honestly. Faith and time do their work. Conversations without pride, small steps toward each other, trust like a glass bridge you can only cross slowly. The symbol of reconciliation is a gesture, restoring the old Thunderbird once sold to buy their first home. The family weathers a storm, and precisely for that reason, the next squall won't be the last. Denise's diagnosis flips tour calendars and priorities. Hospitals, tests, dread, a fatigue that doesn't like words. He puts important meetings on hold, stays close, brings presence and quiet. Songs turn into prayers, not public ones, but for the living room. Treatment is long, but the main thing arrives: remission. The house fills again with ordinary life. Laughter, clatter, the smell of coffee, and a guitar noodling in the den. And still, life rarely asks if you've rested enough after a fight. In 2018, the family faces tragedy. Sudden, absurd, and unfair. Breath runs out. The world sounds muffled. They hold on to memory, to deeds, to each other. The later songs carry more pauses, as if he leaves room for every listener's own grief. There's less ornament and more plain speech. Losses aren't cured, but you can learn to live with them if you don't shut your heart. Then comes another trial, and this time for him. Charcot Marie Tooth puts a name to it. The unsteady gait, the stage that feels like stairs without a handrail. He speaks openly. If you see me sway, that's the disease. Not alcohol. Not an act. There's no pill to rewind the clock. But there's a decision to walk out, to sing, to grip the mic the way you clutch a loved one's hand when it's hard. The tour is titled, Last Call, One More for the Road, not a goodbye, but a big reunion with people who grew up to his songs, and there's focus on others with the same diagnosis. Support for research, a conversation that dissolves stigma. When fame quiets, one question remains: what outlives fashion? They're simple, like a chat on the porch, and exactly like the smell of cut grass in June. He doesn't write abstractions. He writes what throbs in everyone: how hard it is to be a husband, how terrifying it is to lose, how vital it is to come back, the kitchen where kids fight over pie, the highway where headlights cut the night, the Sunday morning when faith isn't a slogan, but a way to hold yourself together. Critics call him a keeper of tradition. More important is this: he keeps people inside the songs, their weakness, their shame, their hope. That's why rooms go still for Remember When, because everyone hears their own family album in it. In that quiet, the next step becomes obvious. He's neither a saint nor a headline-chasing rebel. His stubbornness is professional ethics. Don't counterfeit the roots. Murder on Music Row isn't an attack on peers. It's a craftsman's cry watching an instrument turned into a souvenir. He's not against experiments, he's against emptiness. That's why, next to the name Alan Jackson, listeners feel trust, not scandal. If he releases an album, there'll be a tune you can hum and words you wouldn't mind your kids repeating. And trust is a rare currency you can't buy with a tour. With years, hurry fades and other joys arrive. Time with grandkids, long talks with Denise, rare but meaningful shows. He doesn't chase anymore, he preserves. That's why the late songs carry so much light, not grand, just homely. He knows himself now, strengths and weaknesses, the price of mistakes and the price of forgiveness. Which is why he can smile, even where he once would have shut down. That knowledge makes the final chord unexpectedly clear. His story isn't about flawlessness, it's about grit, honesty, and return. He fell and got back up, lost a voice for the crowd, and found one for the people at home, made mistakes, and learned to ask forgiveness. He sang about the river, and became a river for millions, the kind you rest beside. Illness, loss, industry noise, all of that will pass. What will remain is simple: a man from Georgia who said just enough and sang as if his family sat in the front row. If you believe simple words can pull someone back from the edge, you've already been to his concert, even if you listened alone in your kitchen. This isn't a farewell speech. It's an invitation to what started it all. Press play and remember why we hold on to each other.